Hi, Kyle here from allmediareviews.blogspot.com. I'm gonna do now a sort of a vinyl update or whatever. Some of the stuff is from going back to November from Record Store Day. Anyway, some stuff I've got in the mail. So, I don't know how long this video will last. Hopefully not too long because I have some other plans to do. And I'm battling a cold, or congestion at least. My apologies. I was feeling better earlier. I took a shower and that kind of stuff, but sometimes it's only temporary. Anyway, so the first thing I'm going to show, I found some stuff talking about online. This is the Making of the True program from November of 2002. The Shaming of the True, Kevin Gilbert's album. It was the performing of the album in its entirety in California. Of course, I didn't go to this. It was literally like a week or two before. I think a week or two after. I went to go see Pain of Salvation at Prague Par USA in Atlanta for the second time, I think it was. And actually, that same week, Peter Gabriel was the only time he ever played in Minnesota. So one of those cases where a lot of stuff is going on at the same time. But and I wasn't that big of a fan of Kevin's at this point. So it's all what coulda, shoulda, woulda. Circumstance. But anyways, this is a neat little deal. It's got Kevin's lyrics there, just like a little thing he wrote. But all the people that perform, Nick DiVirgilio, I think Dave Kersner's in here, Mark Z, who's from Minnesota actually, keyboard player. I don't know if he was living here at that point or living out in California, because it was done in some part of Southern California. Brian Beller, who many people know. He's now with the Aristocrats, but he's played with, I want to say, Mike Keneally, who also played in this, and a number of other people. Yeah, see, there's Mike Keneally. It's it's not a, it's sentimental, I suppose, if you were there, and a neat piece of Kevin Gilbert history, I suppose. I would have loved to have had something like this for the one time I did see Kevin's music played live, but the person that I found this from was on eBay. I guess has a few extras of these. I don't know. I might try buying another one or something. But as a completist or as just a huge fan of Kevin Gilbert, it's worth having. Anyway. And then I received in the mail this week also, which was I ordered, I want to say, December sometime. Maybe late November, December. One of my favorite songs from Never Ending White Lights. They released an anniversary edition. Song called The Grace. This is a 10-inch single. It was autographed by Daniel Victor, of course, of Never Ending White Lights. I haven't really spoken that extensively about Never Ending White Lights on video. I definitely have done so on my blog, of course, on the blog itself. But anyway, this has The Grace, like a remastered version of it. And then it has a bonus unreleased demo, which they put online too, and I think it's called My Fate. I think that's what it says. The handwriting is a little hard to read. Or My Fate, I think. Anyway, this is pretty thick pressing too. But yeah, The Grace from the first Never Ending White Lights record features Dallas Green of City and Color and... I don't remember this. City in Color and Alexis on Fire also. I don't know if Alexis on Fire is really all that active now. But, he's got a phenomenal voice. I can't say I've listened to City in Color or Alexis on Fire that much. I probably should. There's actually a really great version of Kimbra's song, Settle Down too, he did. But, it comes with some credits and stuff like that. But yeah, oh man, that's The Graces. I played it on KFAI once. It's such a great tune. It's a melancholy, but just gorgeous, sort of soaring melodies on this song. And oh man, to have a special 10-inch is just really neat deal. The artwork, which I'll show again in just a minute. I wanted to put this back in here. Totally fits the vibe. It's just a ballad. It's not a real technical song, of course, and it's not. And Never Ending White Lights music isn't really technical. It's more about mood and texture and atmosphere and emotion. But Oh man, I love this song. I love Never Ending White Lights. Hopefully we'll get a new Never Ending White Lights album soon. Hopefully in 2016. But oh man, I think more people, if they could hear Never Ending White Lights, would love them. They're from Canada though, unfortunately. A lot of the people that love the band Ours love them. And actually, Daniel Victor worked with, of all people, Drake, being that Drake's from Canada and Daniel Victor's from Canada. So, but anyway, moving on. Here's an album that I just literally stumbled across. I had no idea it even existed. But this is a local Minnesota band called Us. And this is their only, I think their only LP. I haven't done any research online about it other than Googling the names that are on it. The biggest reason why I knew I wanted this is because, as you can see the credits, it has a few different names that I'm a fan of. Namely Greg Harridge's and John Wright. John Wright of the Galactic Cowboy Orchestra and Lato and Wright. Greg Harridge's solo projects. But this came out in 1989, and they had it at Cheapo the other day for like 50. Was it 50? No, I paid $3 for it. Well, whatever. You know, you don't find, this is early Greg Harridge. You don't find his stuff very often. I don't know of any of it that's actually on vinyl other than this. So I've heard some of his stuff pre-2005, which when I first got into Greg Harridge's music, but this I suspect is maybe a little more electric. I know some of the music he did in the 90s and maybe at this point the band Us in the late 80s, 89, was very influenced by King Crimson. So, but if you're not even someone from Minnesota, this would be something to check out. But Minnesota people that know Greg Harridge's or John Wright, and then let's see, the drummer is a guy named John DeSalvo, although it said, yeah. And then I guess John Wright had left the band after this, but Greg and John have worked together since then. Obviously, John Wright played on some of Greg's albums and stuff like that. So, anyway, Us. I don't know how much information on the internet there is about it. So, but moving on. This I picked up this is I think a second copy I have of one of my favorite jazz fusion or jazz rock albums, Marsscape from Jack Lancaster and Robin Lumley. This more or less is the members of Brand X, sort of before Brand X actually formed. And of all the people that are in this band, of course, one of the biggest names is Phil Collins. He played drums. He doesn't sing on it, but there's no singing actually on this other than some chanting. It's all instrumental, but it's sort of a concept album about Mars, about the planet Mars, maybe an adventure, a trip to Mars. I always thought that this was inspired by the Martian Chronicles, that miniseries, and previously, obviously, the Ray Bradbury novel. At least the novel. But Brand X, I've never invested a ton of time listening to their stuff, even though I probably should. And they did another album, the same lineup, basically, not under Brand X's name, but under Lancaster and Lumley, which was a Peter and the Wolf, which I think I actually did find on vinyl. I can't remember. I've never spent time listening to it, but my friend Creighton, when we were on KFAI many years ago, played the whole thing on the air, because it's only like 40 minutes long, and it's just terrific. It's very atmospheric, a lot of just little parts you notice multiple times hearing it, the keyboard work, the textures they use, everything about it. I grew just to love this record. But yeah, I mean, if you are a Phil Collins fan and you've never heard this, most people that love Phil Collins probably have. They know his work with Brand X, even though obviously he's known for Genesis and his solo music. But this came out in 1976, so in fact I haven't done my retro favorite albums list, but I certainly would be highlighting this among others from that year. Let's see here. So then the same day, this is all, I got that on Record Store Day. I just found it at the store. The Police, Wrapped Around Your Finger, 12-inch single, which, let's see here, it includes a version of it live also, and Murder by Numbers on the B-side, and Someone to Talk to as well. I mean, I'm a Police fan of the Police. Not like a huge fan, but Wrapped Around Your Finger is one of my favorite Police songs from the Police. And the fact that it had artwork and stuff like that, it was a 12-inch single. It wasn't really all that pricey. I just figured I would snatch it up because you just don't see this particular song. Obviously, Wrapped Around Your Fingers from Synchronicity, the last Police album, but yeah, so you can see. Yep, not a bad little find. Again, that was also on Black Friday Record Store Day. I just pulled out that bag. I'd been sitting there for literally weeks. And put this stuff with my other vinyl. Then I just bit the bullet since it finally got released. A record I've been looking for literally almost since I've been into vinyl. I've been collecting vinyl for the last 4 or 5 years. Show Don't Tell, Presto from Rush. Show Don't Tell's on this album. This is the new 200 gram remastered version or whatever, which they're basically all their whole catalog in the last year and a half got re-released. Yeah, this is an awfully thick pressing. I should probably at some point do a random artist feature on Rush. It'll probably end up being 2 or 3 videos just because they have so many albums. But I will stand by and defend this record forever. Even though a lot of people don't like it or think it's okay, but not as good as even a lot of the other 80s Rush. Ooh, this is cool. This is a jacket for it with the lyrics, although I don't imagine I'll be putting it inside there. But as far as the music on this, I always consider this for the longest time, for like probably almost since I got into Rush, probably in the mid-90s when I had listened to their catalog extensively. This was the last great Rush record, and it remained that way. Every record since hasn't been as good, is more or less my feeling. Even though it seems like instead of keyboards, it's like more piano on this. There's some keyboards, but some synths, but there's also a lot of piano, which I actually happen to really like the arrangements on those. But oh man, one of my favorite tracks on this album, again, I might go over this if I do the random artist feature at some point on them, is I can't read this. Red Tide. Red Tide, and they never played it live. I don't think they've ever played that song live. I love that song. The crescendo at the back. But Show Don't Tell, Chain Lightning's a terrific song. The Pass is like melancholy, it's like it's about suicide. Someone's committing suicide or thinking about committing suicide. War Paint's another song they have played live. I always liked that song. Scars, really bass driven. The title track. Superconductor, I'm only lukewarm on. That's maybe the weakest track on the whole album. It was a single. Anagram for Mongo, which actually is a reference to the Mel Brooks movie that I'm totally blanking on. Blazing Saddles, I think. Let's see. Hand Over Fist, with the bridge on that is just awesome. And then The Available Light, which that's probably the song people probably champion the most on this record. Which I don't think they ever did that song live either. This whole album has only been played maybe half of it live. Some Rush tribute band should play the whole thing live, including Red Tide. So anyway, been looking for that forever. If I ever find a first pressing, I will snatch it up. But I bit the bullet when they remastered it and re-released it. I should get the other ones since I Roll the Bones and Counterparts. I'm still missing all of those. Even Test for Echo I probably will eventually get. But anyway, and then another one that came out, it was not on Black Friday, but I got it on Black Friday Record Store Days. The one album I really like from this band, they're called Black Mountain, Canadian band, which I heard something, I think it was from the Needle Drop, said that he thinks they're going to put out an album this year, which their last record I didn't really think was that great. It was more folky. But the record before it, this is from 2008, In the Future, while it wasn't a perfect record, has some really awesome stuff on it. I remember 2 specific songs I really enjoyed. There were the more Tyrants, I believe it was Tyrants, and I can't remember if it's Night Walk, the last track. There's another one that's just totally very heavy, proggy, the riff, and I haven't listened to this album in so long. I think it probably is Night Walks. Either that or Bright Lights, I can't remember. But it's sort of like psychedelic stoner rock, but there's a prog element to here. I mean, that says sort of psych and prog, spiritual pioneers, Black Mountain, back with their second full length album In the Future. Anyway, it was sort of getting a lot of popularity in 2008, and then I don't know, they didn't really do much after that. So Anyway, I want to wrap this up pretty quickly, but I'll just show this. Oh wow, this is an interesting little insert. But their other records, I mean, they have a couple. They have a record before this, and then the record since. I wasn't really, I didn't really get into that much. But this one, even though again, this isn't, I would call a perfect record. This came out right around the time I was totally obsessed with Pure Reason Revolution, and they reminded me of them a little bit because they have the kind of contrast of male and female vocals. But yeah, it's nothing. The little labels are nice, but the actual vinyl itself is just your standard like 180 gram. These are nice jackets, though. I'll say that. I wish more of these vinyls that you spend money on came with jackets that were this nice. Anyway, trying to wrap this stuff up, and then okay, the 2 record store day items that I bought, which one's being covered up. The fiance found more than I did, but Bohemian Rhapsody from Queen, which a lot of people have talked about and that picked this thing up, which is nice. I mean, I guess the biggest advantage of having this is beyond maybe sonic quality and condition is if you didn't want to have to pull out Night at the Opera or whatever, and you didn't have an original pressing of this. It's got I'm in Love with My Car as the B-side. But yeah, I mean, I'm in Love with My Car, and Bohemian Rhapsody is a great song, even though I've heard it, literally 1,000 times or more than that. But yeah, it's a neat jacket, just like the video for it, and then yeah, I mean, I don't show anything else really with this. Yeah, I mean, just that's what the back looks like. But finally, I also did pick up the Everyday People Jeff Buckley Sly and the Family Stone cover that was released as a 7-inch, which it has both versions on it, which is interesting. It has his own cover, which I can't remember if I've ever heard that before. But then it was streaming online around the time of Record Store Day, I believe. But yeah, so you get his version, and then you get, which I think they might do more of from now on. They might start issuing these. They can get the rights to do that, where they put the cover song and then the original. Imagine like all along the Watchtower or something else on that. But this thing, the joy of vinyl sometimes, it just doesn't want to go down. So I think I'll take care of this in a minute, but I may make another video tonight depending on how I'm doing. But thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.